and take a seat. I know Joe is here, is on his way in right now. So, music. Can we go cut the music? On the computer in there.
I thought you were.
You're young. You can figure it out.
I thought you were gonna dance. This one has to.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am really excited to see all these faces, and you are in for a huge treat, and especially this late. But I promise you, you will be glad you are here, and you will wish other people were here with you. My name is Shannon Adams. I am the daughter of 8 children. Too loud. I mean, I am the oldest daughter of 8 children, and my mother was the at-home winner of NBC's Biggest Loser 2 years ago, and it has just been an incredible journey for us. We have a passion for helping people transform their lives and change their lives, because if you can imagine coming from a family of obesity, and there's 8 of us, we all struggle with emotional eating. As you can imagine, we have obviously made some big changes in our life, and we have helped hundreds of people since then make changes in their lives. And so we're going to start the evening off by explaining to you what this building is. This is a Beyond Weight Loss building, and we here is kind of a membership-based community effort to host contests, to work out together, to come together to get it off. Because what we found was that it really is about so much more than just losing weight. And you're going to hear about that tonight. It will be completely, your brain will just explode with excitement after you hear from the people tonight. So as far as what is real and what is true. And so tonight I'm going to share with you a little bit about what we do here and how we've changed lives. We've partnered with Nuskin Enterprises and Pharmanex because, if you can imagine, my mom got back from the ranch. When she first got back, she said her anxiety was off the charts. She didn't know how she was going to do it. Could you imagine being on TV in front of all of America, and they're watching you, and they know that you're supposed to lose weight, and then going back, and she says, I just cannot go back and not lose weight. So she was really, really stressed, and I introduced her to the Pharmanex products, and she used them the entire time faithfully. And she went back to the show, and they said, Dr. Hazenga said, you're one of the healthiest contestants that's ever won this show. And so her life completely changed, and therefore we wanted to do something with it. I'm entrepreneurial. I've always owned my own business ever since I was 16. And I looked at it and I said, there is something we can do with this. And Pharmanex Nuskin has the best products I've ever seen because they work. They actually work, and they prove that they work. And so we're going to talk about the products a little bit tonight. We're going to talk about dieting and what's wrong with just normal dieting. You're going to hear from incredible people tonight, especially some of the stories and testimonials of the things that we are using. Because at first everyone's skeptical. Is there anyone that's not skeptical in the room, that just comes in completely not skeptical? Nobody, right? So I just do what everyone says. No, you have to be. And so therefore, we want you to understand why we've picked this company's products and why we use them and why we love them and why so many other people love them. So there are some products that we use in our entire weight management kit. And right now it's the Redesign in 90 Weight Management Kit. And in that kit, there is shakes. Why do people use shakes? Do you guys know?
Quick and easy.
Fast, convenient food got us in trouble, did it not? And fast, convenient, healthy food can get us out. Did you guys know that? We have to have fast convenience because of the lifestyle we live. And so we use the shakes because it's the least amount of calories with the most amount of nutrients and proteins. And not all shakes are created equal. And you're going to find out a little bit about that tonight. But the shakes that we use, they stop cravings of sugars and carbs. And what I'd like to do right now is ask anyone in the room that have used our shakes, and the shakes have been the biggest part of their transformation. Would you raise your hand? Okay. So if I could get 2 or 3 of you to come up real quick, without, if you just come up, please, just 2 or 3 of you, and I'd like for you to share your experience on that. Would you, Mike?
Okay.
Go ahead. Just state your name and really quickly. We don't have a lot of time.
I'm Nicole Hooker, and I'm from Ogden, Utah, and I started the shakes about 4 or 5 months ago, and I've never been a really heavy person, but it was so awesome because there was rolls here and rolls here, and they're gone.
Guys, regular, often bountiful. When you start wearing sweats to work, you know you're getting too big. I'm gonna wear my regular clothes, but I wasn't eating breakfast, and I find that there's a lot of people that do that. That's the worst thing. I started taking the shakes, was kind of eating normal lunch, normal dinner, and at the end of a week I weighed and I lost 6 pounds just by introducing the shake to my diet. But I've lost 60 pounds over the last year. I'm pretty excited about it. So.
Hello, my name is Mark Alley. I started the program about a year ago, and when I started the program, I was heavy, overweight, couldn't even tie my shoes without being out of breath. I took it to heart, the 90-day transform myself in 90 days. In 90 days, I lost 80 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, look, there was one more thing that you said about the shake for you, because it was a man's diet, remember? Tell them why.
Well, so quickly, I can just shake it and go, and I was driving semi at the time, so I could just take it with me. And in fact, in the 90 days that I did this program with, we went on 3 trips with my family.
And still lost weight. Thank you. And I know there's so many more stories. That's the shakes. They stop the cravings of sugars and carbs. That's really why people do so well on them, is because those cravings go away. The other product that we use is Vitality. And that is probably some of people's favorite in the room. How many Vitality testimonials do we have in the room? I love this. So the Vitality is, and you're going to hear a little bit about it tonight, but the Vitality is part of the ageLOC family, the ageLOC brand, and it resets your genes to a young gene expression. How many of you would like to feel younger? Just feel like you did when you were younger. How many of you hit a wall at about 4 o'clock and you just feel like you need something, you're just exhausted? And a lot of people we have a biophotonic scanner, a lot of people that scan on the scanner that are really low in the reds or the yellows, I always ask, are you tired? Because they're not getting that nourishment. But really, the truth is that their genes are changing because we age just on the aging process alone. And the testimonials that come from Vitality are also different because there is no magic pill out there, you guys. This is about nourishing the cells, nourishing the body, just taking care of yourself, getting healthy. There's no secret to anything. No, there's no quick fix. There's not. It is really, truly just about nourishing your body. And so if there's some testimonial stories out there on Vitality, if you could come up for just a few minutes and give me your story. Give us your story. We'd like to hear about it. Vitality testimonials. Come on up. Don't be shy. Come on. I have to stand up here. You get up here. Awesome. Thank you.
I'm just actually a testimony for the whole program. In the beginning, we were like, it's too expensive. We can't do this. And didn't know if it was really going to work, very skeptical, and it works. In 6 months, I'm down 60 pounds, over 30 inches. And for the past week and a half, we've been out of Vitality, and I started teaching kindergarten full-time, and I can feel it. I'm dying for that package to come. I need it bad.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so my husband and I, 5 months, he lost 81 pounds, I lost 70. It's a long story, but in that, we've both maintained for over a year and a half. Feels amazing. And I thank you, Dr. Chang. I could kiss you. Okay. I just might. Anyway. So in that, my husband had severe sleep apnea, and so all night long he was depriving himself of oxygen. During the day to function, he was consuming about 8 to 10 big gulp-sized Diet Pepsis in a day, which is horrible for your body, obviously. And in that, he had tried to quit soda multiple times. We'd gotten on the program. We were on for about a month. And he said, okay, I'm just gonna cold turkey. And so he had, you know, the painkillers ready for, you know, massive headaches and everything else he experienced. And just being on the Vitality, he did not have any adverse effects from quitting soda cold turkey. And so it's been over 1.5 years since he's had soda, period. So love it.
Yes. Well, I have twins, and they're little ones. And at work, I would fall asleep at my desk because I was so tired. Started taking the Vitality, and I have to pop those pills about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like you said, the 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hours when I would crash. And you don't want to do that at work if you like your job very much. But it's kept me alive.
I'm a whole program user as well, but the Vitality part for me, I'm a business owner of 3 businesses, so I am very busy. I was also on Zoloft for anxiety, and the Vitality after 3 months made it to where I don't take Zoloft anymore. And I don't fall asleep driving home because I commute from West Jordan to Kaysville every day.
All right. So Vitality is one of the products that we feel is very important for just the quality of life, right? Feeling young and feeling healthy and feeling better. The other product that we use is Corditrol. Right now, currently, we use Corditrol because you guys are gonna laugh, but is there anyone in the room that's not stressed? There's not a hand that went up. Is there anyone that's just not stressed? They might be on Corditrol if they're not, right? Corditrol is and again, this is not a weight loss program. This is weight management. Corditrol is for cortisol spikes. So stress that causes that, and you guys, a lot of people know all about that, and it manages that because your body cannot release the fat if you're continuously stressed, and chronic stress is a big problem in America, which is why you see a lot of people plateau. So Corditrol is one. Do we have Corditrol testimonials? Do we? Can you come up? Do you mind sharing?
This would be the first time in my life I've done a product test.
I know. You're welcome. Thank you.
Wow, I'm scared and nervous because I've never done this. Actually, but I'm not stressed. So my life, literally since I've been 18, is I sleep about 4.5 hours a day. I'm as wired as a person can get. I'm hard on family, friends. I text and email at 2 in the morning. And when Pharmanex came out with the Corditrol product, they told me that it could maybe help with my problem. I thought it was an asset. They thought it was a problem. And I can only define it as it seemed like the room was just moderated, like I was just on this even keel. Helped with appetite, helped with cravings, helped with moods, which is usually my wife's problem, but she noticed it, yes. That is the one product that I never leave home without, that when I'm packing I make sure I have a double supply with a Ziploc, and without question is my favorite product. It is a 100% must, priced well, and you will notice a difference. It's great.
Thank you so much. And the reason that John says he doesn't do product testimonials is John has been with Nuskin how many years now?
104.
And look at how young he looks. 23 years, and he's usually, the reason that he stays up and texts and does that is he's an amazing businessman. Before Nuskin, he was also very successful. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. And then the other product that we use is the, what is it? T-Green. The T-Green 97. And this is what I've heard, and Joe Chang can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually a thermogenic. It melts fat from the inside, and people have said that you've heard green tea helps you lose weight, right? Well, most things that are out there don't have the amounts of green tea that were actually tested on the studies that people know help you lose weight. And so Green Tea 97 that is in our products, that is from Pharmanex, is one of the highest potencies you can get and makes a huge, huge difference in your fat loss, so in your inches and it coming off. And so that is the program we now currently have, and the AC Complex goes with the AC Shakes for the craving control. So that's the program we currently have. The program that we are excited to learn about and hear about is coming out officially in 2015. Okay, January of 2015, but we are going to be able to get it for a limited time only. Some people will be able to get it if they get on that button fast enough on October 15th. And you can get a 3-month supply of it. But this is why we asked Joe Chang to come out. Joe and his team of 75 full-time PhD scientists, and he leads that team, and also the acquisition of LifeGen Technologies, which helped crack the code on the human genome, have been working together to understand genetics. So Joe, if you'll come up, everyone give him a hand. About a year and a half ago when we very first started on the program. And we sold the company out of product that month. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, now they're selling out again, but it's because everyone wants it now. So Dr. Chang, actually, he could do a better job of telling about him, but it's never fun to talk about yourself. So I'm going to I guess people like to talk about themselves. Do you want to tell us about yourself? Or do you want me to tell everybody?
My wife goes to sleep when I talk about myself.
And I started to read this, and I feel really embarrassed because I don't know how to say all these big words.
You just say drug companies.
He worked for a lot of drug companies, and he served as president and chief scientific officer at lots of drug companies.
That's right.
Because I can't read them.
The legal drugs.
The legal drugs. He's not a drug dealer. But he is one of the most amazing men I've ever known, and really because of him, our lives has been changed. My mom, and I should have gotten her up here for her testimonial. Denny?
I'm hiding.
You are hiding. You are hiding. She is off of her sleep PAP machine. She's off of her diabetes medication. She's off of, what else? All medication, cholesterol.
All medications, everything's gone.
Everything's gone. And my dad...
Scan score went after the show, I came home and got scanned, and my scan was at 34,000, which I thought was really good, because everybody else was scanning lower, but that's like a C. And in 2 months, it went from 34,000 to 63,000. And that's with exercising 5 hours a day.
So, and you've kept your scan score up in the A, okay? She's up in the A all the time. But my favorite story really isn't hers. It's my dad's. Because my mom came back from the show, and she had lost all her weight, and my dad was still fat. And he didn't like to exercise because it hurt. And so he got a personal trainer and then said, I don't want that anymore. And he stopped. He went on the program, the full program, because we decided to do this for people. He went on the program and lost 53 pounds without exercising. But then to maintain it, he heard we needed lean muscle, right? So he's maintained it for a year and a half, and his blood pressure medicine is gone. And he went to the doctor, and they said, Del, you're 10 years younger today than you were 10 years ago when you came here.
Wow.
I'd like to bring Dr. Chang here, just so he gets a good, warm, fuzzy feeling for all the incredible stories that we're creating.
Yeah, scientists are boring people, right?
That's right. Except he's not boring. He's actually, I know that in the pharmaceutical world, but the dietary supplement industries, he serves as a member of the executive committee for Nuskin Enterprises. So he used to have a company called Pharmanex that was then bought out by Nuskin, but before that, he had stores, or he had his products in 36,000, did I get it right?
Yeah.
36,000 pharmacies all across the nation. And he didn't understand the whole concept of why direct selling at the time would do what it did. But word of mouth marketing has to be done when this product has got so much value in it. And so, Joe, I hope you don't mind, but we're going to do like an interview tonight.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Very good.
Is that different for you?
Yes, I'm very nervous.
Are you? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to do an interview. My husband and I, Andrew is in the back, and Andrew Adams and I have been with Nuskin now. This is our 3rd year, and we've been working with their products and just helping so many people, and that's my passion. But he we decided to do this kind of question and answer thing because we thought there's so many, these are questions from the audience actually. Everyone's kind of been asking me different things. I've got a lot of them, but we'll get as well. First one is about you. What motivated you to start the research on nutrition? Rather than pharmacy?
Well, first, thanks for inviting me to come up. It's always fun coming out. I didn't miss the exit Periclane, so I went all the way up to Logan. No, it didn't.
That's Lagoon, not Logan.
Oh, that's right. Okay, very good. No, I'm in for a night. Okay. So, what was the question again?
What motivated you to start your research?
Yes. Obviously, Shannon has mentioned to you that I was working for the drug companies, right? So I've done a lot of drug discovery. I had a team of 200 scientists when I was at Wyeth. That's one of the drug companies. Yeah, what you couldn't say. And so, actually, you should be able to say Wyeth.
I can say Wyeth, but Wyeth what?
Wyeth Ayers.
Oh, Ayers.
That's the Canadian.
Oh, okay.
company. So, whatever. The question is, so I did a lot of drug discovery, and it suddenly dawned on me after 15 years or so that in spite of all the drugs I've developed, in fact, the 3 of them, they were some of the top 10 sellers in the pharmacy, actually. So after developing that 15 years, it dawned on me that really what I'm trying to do when I was in the drug company was to really treat diseases. Essentially, I'm trying to catch the horse after it starts bolting away from the barn, right? And I'm beginning to form the idea and the notion that if I actually can develop an approach to prevent the disease from happening, then it would be I thought at that time, a much easier deal for me. So that's really the genesis of the formation and the creation of this little biotech company called Pharmanex back in 1995. And I said the way to go is instead of developing drugs, I should focus on nutrition, because ultimately what drugs do is to really sort of ultimately to put a little bit of brake on your body, and in fact it is your body that is treating the disease. So using that same sort of insight, if you will, we apply it to nutrition. If we can use some nutritional intervention via supplements and helping you to get more energy, then eventually the body will treat itself. And rather than looking at separate tissues specifically, we went and looked at the body in a holistic way. That's really how we started Pharmanex. And we added a lot of science from the drug industry, but that's really what Pharmanex was known for, is for our science-based approach to supplements. And because when we started Pharmanex and looked around at our competitors, we found that for all intents and purposes, and this is the reality check, there's a lot of snake oil out there. There's no science, and there's no evidence to suggest that particular supplement will work for you. All you have in terms of credibility is look and see, does that bottle really look pretty or not? If it looks pretty enough, maybe I'll try it. Pharmanex took a very different path, and we use science. All the products that Shannon had been mentioning to you, they were all developed through a scientific method, if you will. So we get the evidence that this particular ingredient is useful. We should put it into the final product, and so on and so forth. And by the way, all our products come from natural sources, so that we know there is a very long history of safe usage and really some hints why the particular natural product is used by so many cultures around the world. And those 75 scientists, and please come down south, okay? There is such a city called Provo down south, and you guys never come down. So, I come up north. So. But do come, and those 75 scientists, that some of them you will meet, for intents and purposes, they're there to create and generate that evidence, because we don't launch a snake oil supplement in that sense without scientific evidence. So in 1998, that's when Pharmanex was bought and acquired by Nuskin. And since then, over the last 13 years, we have developed the scanner that everybody has now been using it to measure. That's a good tool, particularly in weight management. Maybe you don't realize this. In addition of having more fat, the fat acts as a depot. In other words, it's a reservoir that will keep all the toxins in. So it is a very toxic tissue. The more you have of that, the more toxins you will have in your body. So the scanner can tell you, for example, if you don't take LifePak or one of our supplements, your score will drop, all things being equal, except between two individuals. One has more fat than the other. The fatter person will have much less antioxidant protection in the body. Okay? And when Shannon asked, anybody here is not stressing, the reason why you didn't put up your sort of hand to say that you're stressed, you're in denial. That itself is a stressful factor. So, and cortisol and all these other things invariably are very useful products for all of you. So that's how I started in nutrition, and we've grown quite significantly.
Wonderful, thank you. So here's a question that everyone is probably heard of from someone in their family. Is genetics a factor to staying fat? It runs in our family, everyone's fat. Is that, in your research and your studies, does that have anything to do with it?
Yes. We know that genes regulate and somehow control the amount of fat tissue in your body. That we know. There are lots of things. But to say that there's nothing you can do about it is not true. Because here's an analogy, right? Your genes, and many of you are not trained as scientists, it really doesn't matter. All you know is there are genes. You already know that half of you came from your mom and the other half came from your dad. Right? The reason you know that is because 50% of your genes came from your mother and 50% of those genes in your body came from your dad. Right? So you are a combination, you have a genetic makeup of both parents. And that's how the body is being made. So they're very important, these things that are called genes, and they're not Levi genes, by the way. Okay, so these are very important. Now, as you listen to me and say, what on earth is Joe talking about? That thought itself in your brain has triggered some gene activity. Because you cannot make and think that thought if your brain genes are not working. All right? Essentially, your brain dead. Then your genes won't work. Right? But even as you laugh, I mean, that trigger, that genetic part of the brain that sends a signal to your throat, to your mouth, and all that to create that laugh. So genes are, for all intents and purposes, right, is the beginning of every function in your body. And that includes the deposition of fat tissue. And maybe there is a very small population of people, and that's very small, that they have a genetic disposition to fat. But even for those individuals, if they can control the expression of those genes, they will lose weight as well. So fundamentally what we're doing in Nuskin is to say, here, all roads lead to Rome. You've heard that saying, right? For us, Rome would be our genes. And that's where we went hunting. And that's where we found certain genes that are absolutely critical, whether you put on more weight or whether you lose that weight. And those are the genes we are focusing on to see how we can influence and reset those, the activity of those genes in such a way to help you lose the weight. And the reason why that is critical for us at that sort of really scientific level is that if we can somehow influence the genetic basis of fat, it translates to a very important feature, and that is you won't rebound. And that's why Shannon brought folks out 1.5 years and all that, and that is really because those genes have reset themselves in such a way that it helps you not to put back on weight. Now, we have been talking about fat, okay? Genes, the research that we've been doing also told us it is not about just the fat. It is also about your brain. It is, in fact, just as important to control your brain if you want to weight manage as it is to increase the metabolism in the fat. Because the area of the brain that controls your eating habit is exactly the area that people get pleasure from other triggers. That's the part of the brain where you can develop an addiction, for example, to drugs or anything else. So it's a difficulty without that realization, and that's what we have in this new system that we're bringing out. The My Victory system that you're currently using was our springboard. Without the My Victory, this new system coming out would not have happened. Okay, so that's one extra, two extra features that we're adding on, is help you to resist that craving thing. That's one thing. And when you talk about craving, it's really about the brain, isn't it? When you crave something, it's the brain forcing you to do something. I think we have a product we have developed that can help you control and regulate that craving. Another thing, Shannon's dad was very, very wise, and that's the muscle. If you want to not exercise as much, you better not lose your muscle. You lose your muscle during a weight loss program, you will, I can almost guarantee you get back all the weight in a year's time. So in order, recognizing this reality, that exercise can be difficult, Shannon's dad has proven that point, okay? And he resists that. We recognize that reality. There's one trick I can do on him, and that is to help him preserve, if not increase his muscle mass. If I can do that with a weight management system, and that's what we have being launched, as Shannon hinted to you next month, is that we have another supplement that can actually help you do that as well. To build your muscle, so that for all intents and purposes, if you become a couch potato, since it is the football season starting, both college and professional, all right, you'll be a couch potato, at least the muscle is still revving. It's still helping you to burn the fat off, if you will. Without muscle, you can't burn fat. That is the engine. That's why it's so key for us to focus on that piece as the brain, the muscle, and the fat. That's the triangle we're going after. So TR90, and in fact, we have done the clinical studies to show that indeed it is working. People are losing weight. But the expectation is, it's not 30 pounds in 30 days for us. It's 30 pounds permanent. It may take a bit longer. And it is, as once again Shannon says, right, you have to participate. It's not very different from your business that you are listening to Shannon on. It is, you have to participate. If you don't commit, then the system won't work for you. That's the reality. I'm not a magician. I don't make magic bullets. What I will provide, and what the scientists that provide for you next month, is an incredible weight management system. Why do you think most of the competitive systems out there are called diets? When you listen to it, when you hear somebody tell you, why do you get on this diet system? The first thing that you know, that very soon you'll be off that, and you're going to go back to your nasty habits. And that's where the rebound. I mean, it's okay, I'll get on a diet. It's summer, okay, before whatever. You know, I'll get on 3 months, I'll get off. Then I'll look good. Then before you know it, you're getting all the weight back. It's because it was a diet. Let me get back on the diet again. this new system that we have includes a pledge almost from you. Are you going to commit or are you not? Once you commit, the system will help. If you don't commit, the system doesn't work.
So when you talk about muscle and it's influencing the TR90, which is coming out next month, which we can get some people on, it influences the lean muscle tissue. And some people are probably thinking, because the thought came up to me, well, it's just getting on the weights also influence lean muscle tissue. Is that true, or what is it adding
Yes.
to that?
Yes, you can. How many are you really, really seriously going to get on weights? Seriously.
How many of you?
Yeah, okay, Andrew, forget you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Andrew is great. I mean, he's, but
Works hard.
he works hard. Andrew, I mean, there is discipline and commitment too, right? I mean, same thing. So it's yes, you can get it from the weights. This one here is a shake. In the system comes 3 supplements and a shake, all right? This shake is very special. Shannon is right. It's not your mother's shake. Okay, this is a specially designed shake. This is a shake that has the highest quality protein because that's the one, you got to feed the muscle with protein or else it won't grow. All right? And for the women in the audience today, you are not going to become a muscle. You're not going to bulk up and beat up Andrew. Ain't going to happen. Okay. What you will get out of this, though, is a toned body. That when you look at the mirror, your figure has indeed improved. That's the key thing. That's why you cannot tone and shape a body without muscle. If you lose all the fat and you lose muscle at the same time, by the way, most diet programs, the studies have shown you lose the total amount of weight loss, 40% of it is due to muscle loss. Okay, when you lose that, you look flat. You can't shape without muscle. So this system has also been designed for the women because sometimes they get this fear, oh my goodness, you see, building muscle, oh my, what am I going to look like? I can win the bodybuilding champion of the year. No, it's not that kind of muscle building. This is shaping and toning the muscle.
Perfect. Okay, so here's a good question that someone had about supplementation.
Yep.
LifePak Nano is our main one that everybody's on. Taking it twice a day, what's the difference in twice a day and once a day, and what time should we stop taking it? Should we not take it at night, and does that make a difference?
Okay. Why do you get hungry 8 hours from now? Okay, because the body has utilized all the energy from the first meal, and 8 hours later, you need another refueling. It's the same thing with LifePak. We have found from our studies that when you take 1 packet of LifePak, the active ingredients in LifePak will 50% of it will be removed from your body in 8 hours. All right. And for us, the dose level in your blood is very critical and important to get the maximum benefits. So to replenish the blood levels back up to 100%, you take a second packet. That's why you need to take 2 packets. When you look at an ingredient, and this is, again, the snake oil approach, which we can take. I can put an ingredient in there, but if it's such an expensive ingredient, I will just sprinkle it with some fairy dust to control my cost. All right? With that amount, no matter how effective and beneficial that ingredient is, at that dose, it does nothing. It will have no effect because it doesn't have the effective, it will not deliver sufficient concentration to your body to achieve that benefit. But the companies don't tell you that. you look at the label and you see that ingredient and say, whoa, this ingredient is really good. I'll just pick randomly. Vitamin C, whoa, that's good. Do you really look at a dose? You don't. Most people don't. So, and we can't do that. And okay, let me give you a story. All of you here, I bet, have in some shape or form heard Centrum, right? You know what Centrum is, right? Okay, when I was at Wyeth, I developed that product. We developed Centrum for a specific purpose. And that purpose was to neutralize or to address vitamin deficiency. All right. Now, when you fast forward the tape to where I am in Pharmanex and Nuskin, how we developed LifePak. LifePak was not developed to address a vitamin deficiency. It's not the same product. It's not just another vitamin. Because there's far higher concentrations of the same type of vitamins plus other things that Centrum doesn't have. But if you just go stack vitamins to vitamin between the two products, our LifePak currently has significantly higher amounts of that particular vitamin than a Centrum. Okay? Because if you don't have that higher level, you're not going to get additional benefits that we have since found with vitamins that are away from addressing vitamin deficiency. Vitamins have now been shown to have far more, antioxidant is a good example, and helping the bone and so on and so forth. These things came after development of Centrum.
So really quick then, that actually goes into my next question. LifePak Nano is really across the board. I've never seen it not work for someone, but someone asked me a question of, how do I know what my body needs? Is LifePak Nano just a general, everybody needs everything in it? Pretty much?
Pretty much. If you don't believe me, put your hand on the scanner. Because the scanner was developed to address precisely that question. How do you know your supplements work? Or how do you know the supplement that you're currently taking will work for you? How do you really know? It's an article of faith, I call it. Right? Somebody told me it's good for me. But here, for once, don't believe what I say about LifePak. Let's measure what you are now, and let's measure what you are after taking LifePak for 4 weeks. If you don't see an improvement, and that's an antioxidant scanner, right? So if you don't see an improvement, there are no questions asked. The company will give you your money back. Over the we have done more than 15 million scans now with the scanner. We have not received a single money back request. Okay, we have not received a single one.
Thank you. So back to weight management, because this is really what your whole focus has been recently, is the TR90, the genetic approach to weight management, the first time ever. A lot of people are in the diet mode mindset in here. We just always are. And there's different things thrown at us every day. One of the things someone said is, if I'm doing a low-calorie diet, okay, is it good to have a high-calorie day to stop the plateau? You heard that before?
Yeah.
And so why is that all like a myth, and is it a myth?
Okay. Not all calories are created equal. Okay? A carb calorie coming from simple carbs, that's a bad calorie to have. A calorie coming from a protein source is a good calorie to have. So it's not just about calories. It's about the type of calories that you get, okay, and how those calories are being used by the body. So when you go low calorie on one day, and that low calorie includes a loss of protein in your meal or whatever you're eating on that particular day, that's really bad. All right. So be careful. Low carb is good, but at the same time, the body does need some carbs. And the carbs have to be sort of more complex carbs. They're like the grain type. Anything that's white. Nathan used to say this to me. Anything that's white, I don't put in my body. I thought you were a white guy. What he means is obviously white bread, you know, all the muffins and all that kind of stuff, processed starch. So anything that's beans and anything that's grain and unprocessed or non-processed, that's good stuff. That's that you can eat. But when you come down to protein, when the TR90 system comes out, and this is not known yet, it's not so much eating protein per se that is effective, is how you divide that protein among the 3 meals that you're going to eat. All right? Think about it. Most of us, when we wake up in the morning, the typical breakfast is what? Cereal. What is that? And muffin. And coffee, bagel, right? Pancakes. You keep going. It's very starch-based, right? There's very little protein in that breakfast meal. And there's a reason why it's called breakfast, right? You're breaking fast. And when you break fast in the morning, that means your body needs fuel. And the fuel cannot be just carbs. It has to have protein. That's what drives you. That's why people, when they come to lunchtime, they eat a huge lunch. And again, they ignore the importance of protein in that meal. And they said, never mind, I don't eat anything during lunch. Okay? And they come back for the dinner, and they gorge on that one. So the important thing is if you spread your protein, and that's what the TR90 system is going to, hopefully the message we're putting through, is that let's say about 100 grams of protein. It's not really a lot. We will give you some examples. If you spread it and divide it by 3, that's the perfect system that nobody has yet thought of yet. Okay? So with that distribution of protein and with a reduction in your simple carbs, there's no way you're not going to lose permanent weight.
Talk about, tell us about in the TR90 program coming out, there's 2 different kinds you can get. Because we have people in the room that are vegetarians, they don't eat a lot of meat, they don't know how to get their protein in there, and the muscle still needs to build. So how do we do that?
Okay, so really seriously, you have some vegetarians in here? How many? Okay, 2, 3, okay, we're good. When I'm in California, Southern California, the whole room put that.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
put that. It is wow, isn't it?
Yes, it is wow for us.
Yeah. So, we do have a shake that comes out that's a whey protein based shake. And for most vegetarians, they would rather not take whey protein. So there will be an equivalent to that TR90 shake that is vegetarian. And all the protein will come from plant sources. Okay? They will have. It is gluten-free, it's soy-free, it's sugar-free, it's lactose-free, and so on. So it's a good thing. Now, you can find vegetarian-based shakes out there too, but what you won't find is that with our vegetarian-based or vegetable protein-based shake, it will have 1 extra amino acid that your body needs as a mammal. Okay? All mammals, including humans, require 1 amino acid that is called leucine. And you can't get that particular leucine amino acid in sufficient amounts from vegetable-based proteins. So we have added that leucine, you can't get enough. It's not as if there aren't any there, but you have to eat a lot. So we have added this particular amino acid to the vegetable-based shake. So you have a choice, an option, which one you like to take. Each one will deliver the same quality protein that we feel is important for a weight management system. Okay.
Yay, who's excited for getting this? We're so excited for the testimonies that will come from that. So eating before exercise, the protein shakes, is that, everyone wants to know, do I eat before exercise? Is that something you've even studied or even know much about?
Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't. Okay. And then one other thing is that we have, with Pharmanex, Cordymax and Overdrive. We exercise a lot, we are hurting a lot when we're done. What is in that that influences us to not be sore and things like that?
Okay. The Overdrive product can be used depending on your preference. If you like to recover quicker from your exercise, you can take Overdrive for that particular purpose after your exercise. But if you want to have a better quality exercise program, you can take Overdrive before the exercise. It's really for the exercise recovery or duration, the quality of the exercise you can do with Overdrive. And with Cordymax, that's a little bit different. The Cordymax product, we have conducted the clinical human studies to show what it does. The most important benefit from Cordymax is improvement of lung function. How many of you are cyclists? Okay, now cyclists are particularly knowledgeable about this particular medical index to measure lung function. It's called VO2 max. Have you heard of it? VO2 max?
Yes.
You're not a really good cyclist then. Every cyclist I've talked to, especially the ones that are really intense, they all know why that VO2 max measurement is so important. VO2 max, when you get on a treadmill, when the doctor gives you a physical, and they want to do a stress test on you, if you will, right? So you get on a treadmill and you start, and he asks you, run. The thing that the mask that he puts on you to measure your breathing patterns and so on, that breathing pattern will ultimately result in the doctor being able to calculate this metric that's called VO2 max. It's the amount of oxygen that you can extract from each breath. Simply put, okay? Not all of us are equal in extracting oxygen from the air. Some of us are weak because we're not fit. The fitter you are, the better your VO2 max. What we have shown that with Cordymax, we can improve that particular measurement by 10%. Now, since you're not in the field, you would not start clapping and applauding me. Then 10%, so what? A 10% improvement? Yeah, not that big a deal, right? So 10% improvement in VO2 max in a sedentary person, okay? An average person, not an extreme athlete, but it's just all of us, normal average Joe. With that 10% improvement, you can climb 2 flights of stairs quickly without gasping. That's what that 10% improvement means. That's meaningful.
Too, right?
That's with vitality. Well, vitality has Cordymax.
That's what I was
Has
going
an
to say.
ingredient in
Do
it.
they need both if they're taking
No.
vitality?
No, if you're taking vitality, you don't need to take Cordymax. And because vitality has the 2 extra ingredients that will provide additional benefits in addition to improving your lung function.
Wow.
Okay?
Now give us the applause for that, because if it wasn't for this man, I don't think so many, you are changing lives all across the world. Now you're, no, but it's your brainchild, you started it, and you also have written a book called The Aging Myth.
Yeah.
I wish we had a whole bunch of them here tonight, because I'm sure, but people can get them. The Aging Myth is a New York Times best-selling book, and you wrote that. What was the purpose for writing that?
Well, if all of you have heard of age law, right? And everybody is touting age law. But if I ask Scott Bennett back there, explain age-lock to me, he'll run back to Vegas. Is that way he's still living? I'm assuming he is. But the challenge was, because the science is pretty high and is pretty sort of difficult to understand, when I talk to scientists, we go into this jargon-filled speech that almost doesn't sound like English if you're not in that field. You know how lawyers talk, right? Same thing. They have their legal jargon, and that's why a lot of sort of approach to make sure that when you write a legal document, somebody cannot read it in a way. Same in science. When we talk, it doesn't really matter because we use a lot of jargon, and we understand the jargon because we're trained that way. But it's becoming clear to me that when we launch this age-lock, there is a need, because at the end of the day, this is a duplication business. If this is a duplication business, how are you going to duplicate what I say in science if you don't have at least an understanding of what age-lock is? That's the purpose of the book, is to write the book in a simple way, but not a simplistic way. Okay? The facts are still accurate. The statements that we put into the book, those statements are correct. I have not pulled back to write in a vernacular, in a language that all of us usually use normally, and say, forget about the facts. That was not the intent of the book. The book was to make sure that we capture everything that what we're trying to do with age-lock, especially with this acquisition of this company called LifeGen from Wisconsin. They brought a lot of genetic research expertise to us. You have to understand why we bought that company too. And that's why we talk a lot about caloric restriction.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. Everybody says, I want to live longer. And we in Nuskin, we put out this tagline that says we are an anti-aging company. Right? What does that really mean? You know, how do we approach that? We cannot sit still or stand still and just depend on the products we have already developed and continue to say we are innovative if we don't use the new knowledge that we have regarding the aging process. Okay. So when we look around and say, okay, what is the new science and the new scientific knowledge that is existing out there about the aging process that we can use in product development? And that's how we came across this particular intervention that is called caloric restriction. Caloric restriction is now widely accepted by most people now. There's still some unknowns and questions we need to ask ourselves, how it's working. But in general, if you reduce your calories by 30% or more, most of the studies show from every species, all the way from a worm that lives only 2 weeks to primates, monkeys, every species where calories have been restricted by 30% or more, they live longer. So here is a perfect intervention that has been validated to help people live, not people, but in general, in most mammals, every species, to live longer. So if that is so, that is something we should look at very deeply, and that's how we came across this company, LifeGen, in Wisconsin, where they have studied caloric restriction for over 30 years, and they found the genetic basis for why caloric restriction is working. They found the groups of genes, if you will, that are being influenced during caloric restriction. Okay? And they found something even more subtle, but very profound, that the set of genes or the groups of genes that are being influenced by caloric restriction varies from tissue to tissue. The genes that influence a healthy young heart, those genes are significantly different from the genes that affect other muscles, your brain, your bone, and so on. Nobody actually sort of have gotten an inkling of that yet. So based on that, so we ask ourselves, well, if they have got this incredible knowledge about how genes work during caloric restriction, and we recognize, by the way, if you want to try caloric restriction, please do. But I bet you will come off it in less than a week. That is a starvation diet. Nobody who has attempted it has been able to stay on it, in spite of the reality and that incredible future, I'm going to live longer. Couldn't do it. Very difficult. So for us in Nuskin, say, fine, if that is such a reality, that's the reality, can we make something, a product that mimics aspects of caloric restriction? The first thing we want to mimic was energy, because we know during the aging process, one of the first things you notice, well, you say that all the time, I don't have as much energy as my kids now. Right? You say that all the time. We sort of know that, and that's how ultimately that particular thinking, if you will, led to the development of vitality. And other insights that we had since we are continuing the research with this lifetime scientists, we're using those insights to develop this TR90 system. Because one of the results of caloric restriction is fat loss, right?
Right.
So that's really how we did the whole thing. However, if you go out and tell people that Nuskin products will help you live longer, that's not quite right. What Nuskin products help you to do is to help you live young longer.
Woo!
That's really the quality of life, if you will. I can give you a product that helps you live really long, let's say 120 years old. But I say, by the way, during those 120 years old, you're going to sort of live your life in a wheelchair. I think you would not take that product.
Wow, we can give him a hand. What? No, honestly, it's 9:06 at night, and you are here. You do not need to be here. You came for us, and so we really thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you guys are all as excited as I am to get on the TR90 program. We have very limited codes available. If you are interested in it, talk to the person that invited you out, because it's not, I mean, there's just might not be enough for everybody. It's a limited supply, but there's a lot of people that are interested in it. So let us know if you want to have that. You have to buy 3 months all at once. The wholesale cost in it is $1,200 for all 3 months. So it's $400 a month. But let me tell you something, what we learned, like these guys here said, we thought it was expensive. It's not expensive compared to what people are going through as they age and as they get fat and as their bodies are going to, everything that people are going through. It's also not expensive compared to what people are spending every day. Do you know the average person spends $21 to $26 a day on food? So this is what, $12, $13 a day, and it will make a huge difference. So thank you guys for coming out. We really, really appreciate it. We welcome you here. Every Thursday night we do a transformation evening here in our center, and we would like to duplicate this across the valley. So if there's people that would like to open this up in different areas, but this really Beyond Weight Loss is about just getting people together, having them get the results and not just take a pill and a powder, but actually fix your body from the inside and the outside. Some of our pictures are up here of all of the people's lives that we've changed, so come take a look, and thank you. Have a great night. Appreciate it.